Welcome to Muskegon Rotary. My name is Jenny Sprague, and I'm privileged to serve as your president for this Rotary year. For today's program, we are going to hear from the Department of Health and Human Services, DHHS, and we'll start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a reflection from Jill Bontice, and we'll recite the four-way test at the end of the meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jill.
In order to be at peace with others, we must be at peace with ourselves. This means accepting our own past, present, mistakes, successes, strengths, and weaknesses, choices, and behaviors. We should not heap blame on ourselves or others, for many factors have contributed to who we are: heredity, family upbringing, work, experiences, relationships, stresses, losses. Some of these things we had no control over. We all came into this world as valuable, lovable infants, a child of the universe. What happened after that was not completely under our control. It does not mean we blame others, but that we all take responsibility for fixing each other now. We can let go of the anger at others, also at ourselves. We can forgive ourselves for our mistakes and others for theirs. We can remember each mistake has an important teaching role in our lives. We were never meant to be perfect, but to become the best we can be, which will always be imperfect. The past or things that have happened to us do not have to control us for the rest of our lives. We all have different obstacles to overcome. We are part of nature, part of God, or a higher power, part of this mysterious, miraculous universe. And by accepting all of ourselves, the light, the dark, and the same in others, we can come to find wholeness and peace within.
Thank you very much, Jill. That was lovely. You all may be seated. Enjoy this time of fellowship. Silence your cell phones. And we will reconvene in 10 minutes. If you'd assemble up here with your guests, that would be great. And Mike, if you could start our Rotary Foundation video, that would also be great. Thank you.
In a world full of challenges, you make solutions possible. Because of you, last year, we funded over 1,090 global grants, 470 district grants, and 310 disaster response grants. Together, we are providing clean water and growing local economies, supporting education, and promoting peace, supporting mothers and their children, providing aid to the communities affected by disasters, and preventing diseases like polio. Last year, donors like you contributed more than $427 million to the Rotary Foundation. Because of you, together, we can do even more good. Thank you for your dedication to strengthening communities around the world. The Rotary Foundation.
Don't forget, you are the Rotary Foundation. Your contributions help all these things happen. 90%, I think it's even higher than that, like 95% of the money you donate goes directly to the causes you're supporting. And it's a great way to make a difference in this world. Thank you. Jason.
I love it when Jason tells me what to do. My guest today is Tim Nolan, and Tim is the VP of Operations for Michigan for Bethany Christian Services. So thank you.
Welcome.
Hello, I'm Laura Lorenz. This is my guest, Dustin Napper. He is a friend and colleague. He is the branch manager for PNC Bank on Laketon Avenue. He also owns a escape room in Norton Shores. If you ever need a good team build. It's called the Adventure Gaming Group Escape Room Tag. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kirk Hallman, Muskegon Museum of Art, and I want to introduce Ruby Chase, who is our new Director of Development.
Oh, welcome.
She has a built-in fan club.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rachel Gorman. I am the Chief Operating Officer at the Muskegon Lakeshore Chamber of Commerce. And my guest today, we're sitting at the green table, is Amy James. Amy is the new Events Director for Adelaide Point. And she has already submitted her application for membership.
Way, yay. Welcome to Rotary. Hey there.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rob Mathis. I am the founder of City Boy, and this is my wife, Raina, the co-founder of City Boy.
Welcome to Rotary.
Hi, John Rupert, Route 31 Credit Union. My guest is Nick Green, our Business Development Officer at the Credit Union. His membership is pending, so he should be joining soon.
Welcome. All right, Marty, pump up the room.
Pump up the room. Yeah, you guys were really holding back on your cheers. You got more in there, so I'm expecting more because we have Career Tech Center in the house. Much better, much better. To introduce two of their students is Laura Wiles. She is the counselor at the Tech Center.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having us today. At the Career Tech Center, we have this super awesome opportunity to have students from all 17 school districts in Muskegon County. That includes all of our public schools, private schools, and charter schools. We even have homeschooled students who join us at CTC and do the rest of their schooling at home. So we have over 850 students in the county attending our 16 different programs. And it's my first year there, and so it's just been really amazing to get to know the building and the people and the fabulous career and college opportunities that we're providing for students in Muskegon. So I've brought a couple of great representatives of our programs today. First, I'm going to introduce Stefan Oakes, and he's going to tell you a little bit about himself.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Stefan Oakes. I am a senior at Orchard View High School. I am currently studying criminal justice at the CTC Center. I'm a second-year student there, and I am currently an intern, actually, at Northern Shores Police Department. So,
Cool.
yeah. So my week there pretty much is Monday, Tuesday, I go on ride-alongs. Wednesday, I'm with the Point Division, which is like school resource officers, that type of stuff. And then Thursday, I'm with the detectives. So that really has opened a lot of opportunities for me. So, yeah. And then next year, I plan on going to, my plan was to go to college, to go to Grand Valley for their police academy. So that was my plan. But recently, I've received offers to go play football. So that's kind of changing a little bit. So we're gonna see how that goes and just go with the flow. So. Yeah.
All right, I now have the opportunity to introduce to you Chloe Welch, and she's going to tell you about herself.
Hi, I'm Chloe Welch. So I go to Whitehall High School, where I do sideline and competitive cheer. I do the Health Science Academy, which is the second-year program. Right now, I do, we learn about everything about the body right now. We're actually learning about the cardiovascular system. And I do the pharmacy technician online course. And for next year, I plan to go to MCC for the Promise. I plan to do the 2 years, and then I'm not really sure where I want to go and pursue, but I want to go to a university and then kind of figure out where my major is at MCC and see what I kind of like, and yeah.
Thank you. We are ready for our program. Chris Colley will be introducing our speakers for today. And you want to come on up, Chris? Brian and Tasha, you can come along too. And I'll get out of your way.
Hello, Chris Colley with the Program Committee in Age Well Services. It is my pleasure to bring to you our Department of Health and Human Services today. And we have two great speakers that are with us, and we have Brian Sharon, who is the Program Manager for Children's Protective Services. He's been with the department for 15 years, focused on foster care and child protective services. And he is from Muskegon. He is married with 3 children, and he is also an avid tennis player. Tasha Merlington is also with us. She is a program manager over ESA, 17 years with the department, and she's originally from Sand Lake, Michigan. She has 6 children, and she just recently took a sailing class this past summer and purchased a sailboat. There's definitely some sailors in this room, that's for sure. Welcome.
Thank you, everyone. A lot of familiar faces, so hopefully we don't embarrass ourselves while we are up here. Okay, first slide. All right, so we are from DHHS. We don't have a slide on our staffing, but on our way here, I was like, oh, it'd probably be a good idea to give them a high overview of our office and what it looks like. So we have 244 employees. The office is split. ESA is eligibility, which is clients receiving Medicaid, food stamps, but she will get into all that. And then the other side is CSA, which is Children's Services Administration, which is the foster care, the CPS. Roughly of the 244, it's half and half, pretty much on from both sides. Currently, we are like 10%, and the vacancies everywhere, but currently 10%, we're operating 10% less than what our allotment is. So talking to the Career Center kids in a few years, feel free to give us a call when you need to be a job with CPS or foster care. At our office, we have a director who was actually supposed to be here, unfortunately couldn't be here, Miss Donata Kidd. And then there are 3 program managers total. 4 program managers total, 3 on the children's protective, the children's services side, and then 1 on the eligibility side. We are under the umbrella of the state of Michigan, so we are employed by the state of Michigan. Locally, unlike Health West, is under the county's umbrella. Probably the 2 biggest providers in the community, DHS and Health West. We do have a board. I'm going to plug our DHS board. A lot of them I see are here. It's made up of Pat Wallstra, Aslan Scott, and Jim Fisher, and then there is a county commissioner that comes to the meetings, Marcia Hovey-Wright. So if you guys ever have questions for our board, I see a lot of them are Rotary members, so feel free to reach out to them. On the screen, we kind of hodgepodged our PowerPoint from a bunch of different meetings that we have to go through throughout the year. So while I've been talking, up there has been the core values of DHS. This is from Lansing down. This isn't just Muskegon. And then we have a Hope Manifesto. We're not going to go through and read it, but I thought it'd be worth at least putting up on the slide. And then I'm going to pass it to Tasha.
All right, good afternoon. Like Brian indicated, I am the program manager over the ESA side it's referred to. That's the economic stability side. We issue all of the payments or determine eligibility for the payments. And what I mean by payments, there's a graph up there that you can see. We have the FIT program, which is our cash program that's offered to families. We have our food assistance program, the SER, which is state emergency relief, that helps with any kind of utility bills when people are behind or evictions, helps with payments for those. We have CDC, which is our child daycare, and we have our medical assistance, MA. You'll see that split into MA and HMP. That's the Healthy Michigan Plan is what HMP is on there. Just an idea or some data from this, if you're looking at just the FAP portion of it, so that part in the middle, you'll see that we have just over 32,000 FAP recipients. So that isn't the number of cases we have, but it's the number of people that we are servicing. And of those, Over 60% of those folks are either disabled, employed, or minor children. You will also see on this graph the amount of dollars that are issued every month. So if you look at the FAP one for September, because that's the most current data that we had, just over $5 million is going out each month in that area. We will see that our numbers look relatively the same if you look at the number of recipients that are active each month. We do anticipate to see a decline, though, unfortunately, in the Medicaid, the MA part of it. And the reason for that is we know the PHE, the public health emergency, has ended. And in DHS, we were unable to close medical cases for many years. So there is a huge push now to review the many thousands and thousands of people who are active. So we will see some of those decline with either being over the income limit or, that kind of thing. One of the initiatives that we have started is called Project One Day. What that means is we are looking to try to determine eligibility on a case within 1 day. So not the day that we receive the application necessarily, but the day that we're touching the application, we're hoping to help determine eligibility on that case. What we are doing in order to try to make that happen is we're doing what we call the two-call approach. So most of our programs, we will need an interview with the client for before we can approve or deny the cases. So we're attempting to reach them at least twice in the same day. Try to do it within a short time frame. In the event that somebody maybe is screening calls or unsure who it is calling, we'll leave a message and then call right back. We are reaching out to either employers or landlords and tenants and trying to get collateral contact in order to get our verifications that are needed. That way we can really try to help stop the the recycle of applications that are coming in or clients not being assisted in a timely manner. This is just an idea of how many applications come in. So total food assistance only applications that we received in this year has been just over 16,000. So that's just one of our programs. Another big program that we have is called, we refer to as DSS, Direct Support Services. And what that is we help families that have barriers related to work. So car repairs, car purchases, uniforms for work. And every year we're allocated different funding amounts. This past fiscal year, we were allotted $136,351. So out of that, we purchased 28 vehicles for folks in the community, totaling just over $100,000 there. We were able to repair 21 different vehicles, so just over $15,000 spent there. And then $2,000 in gift cards, which then are used at Walmart or Meijer or local stores where they can purchase work-related items, work boots, clothes, that kind of thing. So we also have the initiative of Universal Caseload that's coming soon. Please spread the word to anyone that you know. That's the best way for us to get it out. What Universal Caseload is there will no longer be, clients will not be able to call and speak to just their worker. They won't have one worker assigned to their case. It is going to be all of the work put into different queues, and then workers are working queues. And the hope is that we're creating more equitable services for everybody, and everyone is served in the same timely manner. It's not going to depend on, I have this worker or that worker, or I can't get a hold of anybody. That's going to roll out in February for us. That is going to be a huge change, and I think will take a little bit of time to adjust, but once our community gets used to it and how things go, I think it will flow a lot better. What we started prior to this to help get folks ready is what's called our In Contact. So that is a phone line that you call, and there's eligibility specialists that answer that line between the hours of 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. That way you are, as clients call in, they're getting service that same day. So we started that prior to help our clients get kind of used to not being able to call and talk to a certain worker every time. So we're looking forward to that change, and hoping that it's a smooth transition and really helps our clients in the community. So that is the information that we have for the ESA side, and I'll pass it over to Brian.
All right, back to me for the CSA side of things. On this slide, it's going to be a lot of data, which I will try to slowly go through for everyone. It is a high overview of the children that are involved in the CSA side. This is Muskegon County. So we have 412 children that are in care currently. 397 of them are out of home. So whatever that difference is, what the 15 are returned home with parents or in another placement. So right now there are 397 out of home. Of that makeup of the 412, 197 or 48% are male, 215 are female. As far as race for the children in care, 30% Black, 48% white, 10% multiracial, and then 14% other, which would include Native American or other races. Of the different wardships, so temporary court ward versus state ward, which would be, temporary court ward would be kids that are removed and the goal is reunification to return to the parents. Rights haven't been terminated yet. State wards would be when the rights are terminated. So 79% of the kids in care are temporary wards, still working towards reunification, 15% rights have been terminated. DHS does contract with private agencies for foster care case management. Currently, of the kids that are in care, 46% are managed in-house by foster care workers employed through DHS, and then 54% are purchased out to the private agencies in the area. Probably not going to remember them all, but I got Bethany because Meredith is sitting there. So Bethany, Catholic, Charities, Arbor Circle, Samaritas, I'm missing a fifth, but I got 4 of them. As far as placements, so of the kids that are in care, the placements that they have, 26% are in licensed non-relative placements, 10% are with licensed relatives, 41% are with unlicensed relatives, 3% are CCI, means like a residential facility. So only 12 kids are in residential facilities, 17% are in their own home or in independent living, and then 3% are in an other placement. So then this slide focuses on more the CPS. That was the foster care makeup. This is more the CPS makeup. So for the month of October, actually we'll start with, when people make a referral for CPS, those phone calls all now go through what's called centralized intake, which is a call center in Kent County that takes the calls for the entire state. Previously, years back, if you would make a call for Muskegon, it would go to our Muskegon office and we would answer the phone, and now it all goes through centralized intake. So the centralized intake complaints that they received for Muskegon in October of 2023 was 415. Of the 415, 164 met criteria for CPS to go out and investigate. There were 60 victims on those 164 assigned investigations. And then of the 164 assigned investigations, 140 of them, not 140 of them, at the time in October, we had 140 ongoing cases. So an ongoing case is a case that there is wrongdoing by a parent. We call it a preponderance of the evidence to have a confirmed case. So there's something going on that prompts an open case, but kids stay in the home and it transfers to ongoing to provide services to the family to keep that family together. And in October, we had 144 active ongoing cases. The prevention cases is fairly new to Muskegon. So prevention cases are basically cases where there's not necessarily abuse and neglect going on, but it is highly likely based on a risk assessment or a safety assessment, based on number of kids in the home or the history, other dynamics that come to play, that it's likely that CPS might have another intervention with a family. So it's a voluntary program that we can take referrals from anywhere. A lot of them come from like schools, our eligibility specialists on the P2P side of things, where they might have a family that they know is struggling with food or with paying their bills, and maybe the SCR is getting denied, they can make a referral to prevention to prevent a CPS intervention, to prevent a potential removal. But it is a voluntary service that CPS workers take those cases. So the middle of the slide, the preponderance rate. So this means of the cases that are being substantiated, of the cases that we are transferring to ongoing for our county, we substantiate at a 26.2% rate. So the 164 investigations, my mom's a math teacher, so I'm not gonna do good with this math here, but of the 164 investigations that we had, only 26% of them are substantiated. 26% of them, there is wrongdoing on a parent's part. So the majority, a lot of the public think, oh, you're just getting overly involved. We actually, 74% of ours are where we do not find that there is wrongdoing, where we deny our investigation. Of the 26%, that breaks down into zip codes for Muskegon. So for the cases that we have substantiated, 26% are for 49441, 26% 49442, 27% 49444, 23% 49445, 22% 49457. The bottom of the slide, reoccurrence of maltreatment. What that means is kids that are in care. Obviously, the goal is to never have a kid that is maltreated or confirmed as a victim. But for kids in care, that absolutely should never happen. We took responsibility for that kid. That kid was removed. And our goal is to try to be under 9% as a state. For Muskegon, we were at 8%. So 8% of it's a mathematical equation, but 8% of the kids that are in care have had a maltreatment at some point in time. The majority are still from the parents that are the ones maltreating them, even though the kids are in care. It could be like on a parenting time, so on and so forth. And then the maltreatment that is a typo here. The reoccurrence of maltreatment is when a kid is, when we substantiate a kid and then within a year there is a reoccurrence, so they are resubstantiated. So a kid is a victim on an investigation, then within a year they are the victim of another investigation. That one is the 8%. The kids that are in care being victimized is the 10%. And then average number of removals in a month is 9.5. So of all the investigations that we have each month, our average kids getting removed is only 9.5%. Services array for Muskegon County. This has a lot of words on it, so I'm not going to go through each one. We have a lot of different funding streams for our services. Some of which are Lansing driven, which there's a few on there that are like FRP, Family Reunification Program, or Families First. Those are contracts that are statewide through DHS that are Lansing driven. And then locally we have pots of money that we work with our Lansing representatives, but those contracts would be for specifically Muskegon County. So there's a couple that are in-home family services and a parenting time support, and then a domestic violence informed parenting. So basically we get the money from Lansing to set up this contract, we put it out to bid, and then usually local agencies are the ones that get those bids. So this is our service area. And then the ones at the bottom have been ones that we have just gotten creative with creating. Like we have a great relationship with Health West, so we've developed a referral process for Health West to try to get our clients that we have in common to make sure that they are getting the services they need through Health West. This is a slide that is in regards to our licensing goals. Right now, there is a lot of targeted recruitment towards finding foster parents and getting more foster homes licensed. So in 2023, the goal was to license 36 unrelated foster homes. I believe currently, this might be a little outdated, but they were at 7, so a little bit behind. Foster homes that have closed, there was 11 through DHS and then 8 through the private agencies. Total number of active licensed foster homes was a total of 83, and then there was enrolled foster homes. So ones working towards being foster parents was between 18 and 33. So on the CPS side of things, a lot of community representatives here I see. We have what's called mandated reporter training, which is essentially, it's kind of like this, where our CPS staff would go to an agency and present on CPS, present on mandated reporters. There's mandated reporters in the community, like school staff that are required to be making referrals to if they see abuse or neglect. So this is just a plug that if you work for an agency or you know of an agency that could benefit from having a CPS representative come and present, they can get a hold of me. There's other resources online. If they don't want a presentation, but there's trainings and so on and so forth, just in regards to CPS and what requirements that they do have. This is my plug for foster parents. Not necessarily the intent of this meeting, but I am going to plug it every time that I can. So Muskegon County needs foster parents right now. Like I said at the beginning, 400 kids that are in care. The agency total foster homes that are taking placements right now is only 60. Those numbers obviously don't add up. Even if it's not necessarily being a foster parent, there's a lot of other options as support for kids. Maybe your time is not right to be a foster parent. A lot of other options as far as respite, mentor, so on and so forth. So any help is great, and we would appreciate it. And then there's the last plug. So if you are interested, I am not the one to call to be licensed, but her name is Wendy Mansfield. Her name and number is up there if you are interested. And I believe that is it for us. The thing didn't even give me the threat of time's up, so we do have time for questions.
What are the biggest misconceptions that you feel that the public has towards HSS?
What was the question? What's the biggest misperception?
Yeah.
I mean, so on my end, on the CPS end, it's that there's a per diem for removing kids, or we get a bonus when we take people's kids away, or that we take a lot more kids away. And that's why I try when we do the mandated reporter trainings to stress that, like, that 75% of our investigations don't even result in a case transferring to ongoing. So 75% of our cases, we are unfortunately investigating, but we're in and out. We're denying our investigation. I think the biggest one for CPS is that you just get overly involved, which we might be involved on a lot of investigations, but we don't move cases to ongoing at the rate people, I think, or remove kids at the rate people think. I don't know.
I guess I would say for the ESA side, as far as the way DHS is viewed, probably the workers don't have a lot to do, or they're not doing the work fast enough or hard enough, although the caseloads are extremely high, sometimes 800 to 1,000 cases per worker, and that's dealing with everything that all of the households have going on. Along with like what Brian had talked about with the staffing, we're understaffed, and we have been for a long time. So then training of the new folks that are coming in all the time also takes a lot of time away from workers. And as far as maybe folks receiving assistance from DHS, I think sometimes people might think that it's, all this assistance given to people who don't work or who aren't doing much. But really, as we talked about earlier, over 60% of our cases have people who are employed. They're just, don't make enough to cover everything, or are disabled or minor children.
I'm gonna piggyback on that one. I know one of the big ones that I get when I do my mandated reporter is that there's so many people out there that are just getting cash from the government, from the ESA side of things, and she's not going to crunch the numbers, but there is very few that actually get it, and the money they get is not livable money. It is a fraction of what they actually need. So I think one of the big ones, there's not that many people out there that are just milking the system for cash assistance for sure. The number is a very, very small number.
Brian, I was reflecting on the slide of substantiated cases percentage-wise by zip code, and when you were talking about the myths and misperceptions, I think one of the other very common misperceptions about child abuse is that it only happens in certain communities. I think it's really important to point that out because it's everywhere.
Absolutely. It is. I think it is. I think the percentages do reflect some of the different zip codes, the marginalized minorities that are in zip codes. Not a lot of resources show, I think, the little deviations between the percents. But when you look, from way up north in Whitehall to all the way down in Fruitport, we consistently are seeing abuse and neglect. It might look different in different communities based on resources, based on the makeup, but it's everywhere, absolutely.
How much of what you do is based on the fact that the parents have substance abuse issues? And have you seen that amount increase since the pandemic?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't think it has increased. I think it just looks different. It seems to be a roller coaster of different, the hot topic substances, like fentanyl right now is the big one, but it was cocaine at one point in time years and years ago. So I think the roller coaster of which substance has happened, but I think the number of substantiations for substance use, I don't think that has changed. One of the big ones that kind of is a pendulum that swings is when it comes to like drug positive infants and how we process through those. The legislative laws often change when it comes to that, and then it will impact CPS policy on what will get assigned. Right now, THC is essentially like alcohol, I guess. So we get a lot of children that are positive for THC. That doesn't necessarily mean that there is abuse and neglect going on. Just because a child tests positive is not abuse. So there's other factors that have to be taken into consideration, but that has been a kind of a back and forth matter.
I have a question specifically about the vehicles or the transportation component. Do you have something that's available for transportation of, I would say, like teenage boys in particular, like in urban areas that are having trouble getting to work? Or because I think back in my neighborhood, and probably if I'd made myself available every day, there's a kid in my neighborhood that needs a ride to work at McDonald's. His uncle will take him if he pays him, but it's too much. The bus is too much because only working for 3 or 4 hours, or all these things, and they almost always lose your job because they're supposed to be at work and their ride didn't get them there on time. And that's almost like the kids that I deal with now. It's almost always a kid who wants to go to work in a family that can't or doesn't support them. And I get the idea that you want to help like the parents get cars, but man, there's a lot of kids out there that want to work and they can't work now, and they're learning an environment of not working. We're going to be dealing with finding them cars until they're 40 years old because we didn't encourage them when they were 16, 15 years old.
Nope, I definitely understand that barrier, but unfortunately, no, the program that we have is geared towards like families. So then it would be like the parents in that situation, helping them to, get the vehicles to maintain that employment. Because like we talked about earlier, a lot of ESA 2 is also geared toward like the prevention piece and keeping kids and families from reaching the CSA side as well. So it's a lot more geared toward the family aspect of it.
Frank, talk to me about transportation to work. Do you have any in-house employees placed in resource areas in the community, at Health West, at other sites, where someone who may not be able to access it on the computer themselves might have some support or assistance?
On my side, we do have 15 workers placed in the schools. So we call that our P2P, Pathway to Potential Workers, and there are 15 that are placed within the schools.
CSA side of things, we did, prior to the pandemic, we had staff in schools, and then the pandemic kind of put a pause to that, and we haven't gone back. I know there's other counties that have pretty good community involvement with like Health West or at hospital. There is an ESA staff that is at Hackley, I believe, right?
Yes, some hospitals, and I'm sorry, also at the jail. We also have a worker at the jail as well.
And I think so on the CSA side, it's on our horizon to start getting back to that more community work now that the remote world and hopefully we're past the pandemic, of being able to get people back into the community, the schools, the CAC, prosecutor's office, so on and so forth.
Yeah, thank you for the important work you do. It's much appreciated. I'm curious about the numbers you showed earlier in the presentation where you showed the financial support by month. The food assistance decreased substantially from the first 6 months to later, so curious about that.
So when we were going through the pandemic, there was supplements that were giving, that the federal government gave out. And then once the pandemic ended, then those supplements stopped, which was a huge, I think also barrier with families because they got used to that. What happened is if you were eligible at all, no matter what your income level was, you were receiving the max benefits for that group size. So if you had a group size of, let's say 5, and the max benefit was 800, but you really would only be eligible for 200, if we were counting your income and everything right, we were going ahead and issuing you that $800. So that was happening for many months, years. And then when that came off, it did make a huge difference and created a huge barrier for a lot of our community.
Well, thank you. Don't step too far here. Thank you for presenting to us today. We're going to let you do your reach even farther in the world. As an expression of our thanks for your presentation, Muskegon Rotary will contribute to Hand Wash in your honor. Hand Wash is a cooperative initiative between Terra Nueva and Haiti in Champion Rotary District 6290, which is our district, to provide clean water, sanitation, and hygiene in rural areas of Haiti. So your stretch is even farther. Thank you very much. Okay, we are to that time of day when we celebrate some birthdays. Our birthdays are sort of slim this week after last 2 weeks, a slide. Roger Morgenstern, happy birthday, Roger, today. Kelsey Rhoda, December 4th, and Philip Dickinson on December 5th. So Roger, as I say, I celebrate by not singing for you. So, yeah, but don't forget to donate in your honor. Thank you very much. We now have a spotlight video, our last one focusing on the Rotary Foundation. And because it's the last one, it's 2 people. Take it away, Mike.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. I'm Nancy Crandall.
And I'm Don Crandall.
We're here to talk about the Rotary Foundation.
And our work in international aid or world community service.
We were fortunate to be able to attend several international conventions over the years, and it brought home to us how valuable Rotary International's work is around the world and what can be done in lots of places in the world with our combined funds. We were able to identify needs in a number of places and how we might be able to participate in meeting those needs.
Aside from support of Rotary Foundation, we've been intimately involved in world community service through our Rotary Club and through HOP. We first got started when we looked for solutions to contaminated waters in Nicaragua. We connected with the Rotary programs that were going on, and our first trip to Honduras was in 2007 when our district governor, Donald Moss, sponsored a trip there. We got really enthusiastic about the work that Honduras was doing, or that Rotary was doing in Honduras. So in 2008, 2009, Nancy and I took over the responsibility of organizing trips in partnership with International Aid.
We encourage you to be part of the work of Rotary International around the world by giving every Rotarian every year.
and that will give you great personal satisfaction.
And you will make me so happy. Thank you, Nancy and Don. We are ready to do an induction. Richard Francisco and his sponsor, Mark Eisenbarth, if you could come forward.
Sure. Ready?
Oh, go right ahead, please. I'm sorry.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have Rich Francisco here. He's currently our Executive Director and CEO at Health West. Health West is the community mental health provider partnering with the Lakeshore Regional Entity and Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, which is heard from DHHS. He started there in June of 23. Prior to that, Rich worked at Ottawa County Community Mental Health as a Deputy Director for 10 years and 3 years as the IT Director. Rich completed his Master's in Business Administration and specialized in strategic planning in Davenport in 2013, with honors as a member of the Sigma Beta Delta in the National Association of Leadership and Success. Rich completed his bachelor's from Calvin College with a major in geography as well as minor in environmental science, third world development, and computer science. Rich was born in the Philippines and moved with his family to Zambia, Africa in the 80s. He later went back to the Philippines and attended the International Boarding School before attending Calvin. We were talking about this at our table, and there's a lot of good, interesting, so we thought he could do a presentation later. It's an interesting story there. Rich loves to spend time with his wife, Jill, the 3 kids, Isaac, Clara, and Mathis. His family is pretty involved in the church. He volunteers at Young Life, in the Wildlife Youth Organization, and he coaches and plays soccer. So let's welcome Rich.
Fellow Rotarians and honored guests, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Muskegon, it is my privilege to induct a new member today. Richard Francisco, you have been chosen for membership in the Rotary Club of Muskegon because your fellow members believe you to be a worthy representative of your profession and that you possess the qualities that will help you exemplify this true spirit of Rotary in your public, business, social, and private life. By joining the Rotary Club of Muskegon, you become part of a worldwide organization of business and professional leaders united in fellowship and dedicated to encouraging and fostering the ideal of service and high ethical standards to help create goodwill and a more peaceful world. Because you are a member of the Rotary Club of Muskegon, you will be welcome to join the fellowship of any Rotary Club worldwide. Membership in Rotary is an honor and a privilege. With this privilege, there are obligations. The Muskegon Rotary Club asks that you attend the club's meetings regularly, perform your share of club service, and use your knowledge and talents to help Muskegon Rotary carry the principles of Rotary into the daily life of our community. Do you accept these obligations of membership? He does. Thank you. There's a pen. We'll start with that. On behalf of the Rotary Club of Muskegon, I am pleased to ask Mark Eisenbarth, your sponsor, to give you this Rotary pin so your fellow Rotarians in the community will recognize you as a Rotarian. Please wear your pin with pride. We also present you a little more Rotary swag here with a plaque displaying the ideals of Rotary, a copy of the 4-way test, and a membership directory. And as Kim told you, your pin is on the way. I mean, your badge, excuse me. Finally, I have a challenge for you. My challenge is for you to share the gift given to you by your sponsor, Mark. I ask that you invite another person of good character and commitment to Rotary's motto of service above self to join our club within the next 6 months. By sponsoring a new member, you will share the honor of becoming a Rotarian. Do you accept this challenge? Sure. He said sure. Muskegon Rotarians and guests, please rise. Richard Francisco, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Muskegon, I formally admit you to membership and welcome you as a member of our club. Fellow Rotarians, please recognize the newest Rotarian in the world, Richard Francisco. Congratulations. So it's always nice to have somebody join us. We don't have any Paul Harris Awards today, but today is the day that Meredith will make 2 more of us unhappy, but you know, that's how it goes. Go ahead, Meredith.
Thanks, Ginny. And as Mike is pulling up our wheel of misfortune for this Brave Rotarian contest, I will remind you that it is still November and you still have an opportunity to make a contribution to the Muskegon Rotary Foundation.
What she said.
There you go. Oh, Ginny, I'm going to stick. Please don't hit me, Ginny.
I will. I already made my contribution.
She already made her contribution and her check has cleared, so there you go. So this slide is called Rebuilding Lives. Rotary members and the Rotary Foundation play a unique role in disaster recovery and rebuilding efforts. Working closely with our partner ShelterBox and other organizations that specialize in disaster relief, Rotary members lead projects to support every phase of a community's recovery. Rotary supports in 3 different phases. An immediate response is our local clubs and partners immediately offer helping hand and supports. Short-term assistance through our clubs and districts help affected communities where we can use funds and other materials to reestablish day-to-day operations and long-term rebuilding. Our clubs plan and implement projects that rebuild affected communities for the long haul. So thank you, Ginny, for participating. And Mike Vogus, one more, I can't say winner, selectee. I like that one. Oh, Jules Terry. Is Jules here today? Okay. So this would be slide number 6 and talks about supporting education. More than 775 million people over the age of 15 are illiterate. That's 17% of the world's adult population. Our goal is to strengthen the capacity of communities to support basic education and literacy, reduce gender disparity in education, and increase adult literacy. We support education for all children and literacy for all children and adults. How does Rotary make that happen? We take action to empower educators to inspire learning at all ages. Rotary provides $6.2 million in funding across 104 different grants that support access to education across the globe. And Rotary has also opened a girls' school in Afghanistan, which supports literacy programs in Detroit and ensures safe and clean water in schools in Lebanon. When you teach someone how to read, they have that for a lifetime. It ripples through the community one by one. And that is a quote from Mark Wilson, a Rotary member. So thank you to Jules and to Ginny. I'm sorry you couldn't win this round, but thank you for participating.
Well, at least I went out in November, Rotary Foundation month, so it's all good. We are ready for announcements. I know a couple people have announcements, so if you could come up here. But I'm going to start with a slide, please. We have a couple important dates coming up. Please put these on your calendar. First of all is our annual holiday luncheon, and it's our Rotary annual meeting on Thursday, December 14th. Includes board elections. And the lunch will be a special lunch served to us. And we encourage you to invite your spouse or your significant other. And the first notice said that you had to pay for them, but you don't. That was a oops. Spouses and significant others are welcome to join us as our guests for that meal. Rewind will not meet this evening. And let's see, and then a reminder from Jane, past President Jane Klingman Scott, that our grants committee will be meeting right after this meeting. And Doug Wood asked me to announce that our new member orientation is this coming Wednesday, December 6th, 8 a.m. at the Shoreline Inn. So if you haven't had a chance to attend a meeting, there's a couple chances. Susan.
Hi, for some of you who don't know me, I'm Susan Besteman, and I'm usually behind the scenes.
Making sure you got your good side.
Yeah. Lori Wheeler and I usually do the editing for the RIM newsletter, and we are changing things with permission. So we are well known, as President Ginny said many times, that we've been well known for our RIM newsletter throughout Michigan and the Rotary clubs throughout Michigan. We don't want to go backwards on that, but we want to try and update it a little bit. So we're going to update the template, and we're going to kind of condense something. So feel free to give us feedback, pros and cons, and yeah, and we look forward to seeing your reactions. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, a little more enthusiasm. Susan and Lori, this is a huge job. Roger helps. We have wonderful reporters, and you all keep us informed, and we are very proud of our newsletter. And they're making it, it's new and improved. Stay tuned. So we are ready for your favorite thing, the raffle. Ed. $5, starting small. $484. Other side of the room, of course. Is that Nick? Yeah. Hey, congratulations. $10. 425. Well, you win some, you lose some. Only 90 more bucks and I win back. There you go. $20. 336. $20. Oh, Mark Eisenbarth, congratulations. Well, thank you all for supporting the raffle. The proceeds go to Polio Plus and also our Caring Connection, so we appreciate your weekly support of the raffle. Next week's program will be presented by Trinity Health Muskegon, their Heart Center. And if you will all rise, we will recite the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Go have a good week and create some hope in the world. We are adjourned.